Welcome to another episode of Running Through the Jungles NFL Friday Night Pick'em with your host Justin Lacey and myself, Tim Lyons. Both of us, of course, are for Running Through the Jungle. Welcome, Justin. How you doing, buddy? You know, we had a long week, another long week. How you doing?
Yeah, long week, man, and and as I convened with you before jumping on air, man, we tied. Our record is tied. The
Yeah, we're
overall
tied.
win-loss record is tied. This is insane. Those bad weeks from the bad pick spreads from last week, yeah, they kind of caught up with me, man. So I'm a little disappointed in myself. Even the week before that too was even worse. So like, now
Yeah,
we officially caught up to the point where it's like I think that Bengals Steelers game was the tell all because we both was on the different side of the fence. And after we recorded last week's episode, I was like, you know what, bro? Damn, man, I never should have with the Bengals. I never should have went with the Bengals. We even talked about it on the show with Run Through the Jungle yesterday, so I'm not even going to harp too much on it. We'll get there, but I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing well. The week has kind of gone and progressed on just fine for me. A lot of moving parts potentially within the operation employment. So I'm excited to get started on this episode and kind of like let's go ahead and see what we can do to kind of re-separate myself a little bit to try to get a little bit of a heads up on a lead on the opposition here. That's my boy Tim. So
yeah. So last week I ended up going 11-4. You went 9-6. I actually got to crawl back. We're tied 57-28. So I got to crawl right back into. I told you I was going to crawl back in here. I was gonna either tie you or take the lead, but it's a tie still.
Yeah.
So we're doing pretty good though. Like I said,
we are
57-28. You think about it, if we put money on those 57 games, we make some money back. We be making some money.
We do. The team that continues to be a thorn in my side when it comes to picking them or going against them is the Carolina Panthers. Once again, it was one of those situations where it's like, man, I think that the Carolina Panthers can win this game, but I just don't know. Maybe I trust the Atlanta Falcons more, and we're going to talk about the Falcons at some point. I don't even know if they're playing this week or unless they're on the bye, but Michael Penix Jr. He is playing this week. Michael Penix Jr. is hurt. And now he's probably out for the year, and it's going to be Kirk Cousins right again. But you know what? I think it's time to recognize what nobody is talking about, and that the Carolina Panthers are real, dog. They are real. Like, I'm not saying that they're a real contender, but they're a fun to watch team. They're winning games. They're playing competitive football. And Dave Canales, he just needed a little time. Bryce Young, he needed a little time. And now you're going to start seeing national, like if they beat somebody of any kind of crazy relevance of substance, I think you're going to see the national media recognize them. And if they make the playoffs as a 7th seed or as a 6th seed, people are going to be like, what the hell? How did this happen? That's what I see the Carolina Panthers now. The NFC is loaded. They got talent all from up and top and down that conference right now. So we don't know how that's going to play out for them, but I just need to make a nice little soft call out to them because, man, I've been picking against them. I've been picking for them, and they're my kryptonite when it comes to pick spreads this year. And I just know if I'm a betting man now at this point, if the Carolina Panthers are there, just stay away from the game, bro. Like, just stay away from the game.
Yeah, and I feel kind of the same way when it comes to the Panthers, but also when it comes to the Los Angeles Chargers, man, I was like, Los Angeles has got this game against the Jags, and then the Jags just punched them right in the mouth, and it's like, what the hell happened? And unfortunately, it lost me the lead. Well, actually, I think we both picked we both picked
the Chargers.
Yeah, so it didn't matter. But it's just like the Chargers. Just I know they're dealing with some offensive line injuries and stuff like that. But they got to stay consistent as well. And the Jaguars have to stay consistent. The Jaguars just are not playing consistent football. So I'm just like, when it comes to these games, when I'm sitting here going, I don't know, it's because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't pick my games before the show. I'm doing them on the fly. Justin's the same way, doing them on the fly. So, when I go, I don't know who I'm going to pick or if I should pick them or not. That's why. But anyways, let's get into the show. Week 1. Hold on, I'm sorry. I forgot I accidentally hit a a button.
Week one. He said week one, like we all the way back in September, and we got Joe Burrow running out of the tunnel. You know, unfortunately, this is week what? Week 12, week 13?
12.
Okay, week 12. Yeah, we got to talk about that Thursday night game, bro.
So week 12, you know, Justin and I, we actually both picked the Bills to win this game. And the Texans
already starting off.
Bro, the Texans defense sacked Josh Allen 8 times last night. But the Texas defense was making him look like their bitch. 8 sacks. Justin, go ahead, man. I know you got something to say about this catastrophe.
Well, before I get into the actual game in itself, I just got to point out, this is why I always say the road team on Thursday Night Football is in trouble in these spots. And I obviously didn't think that the talent disparity was going to be this crazy. I thought it was going to be really crazy because the Bills, they just came off of an incredible win, a back and forth affair against another great team in the Buccaneers at home. And I was like, you know what? They're feeling rejuvenated. They're going to just go down in Houston. Well, I think that they would have blown the doors off of them. Not really, just because I do respect that Texans defense. I've always understood it. But I also think that Texans had a little bit of some warts there. We've seen Trevor Lawrence had his way with that team. We've seen other teams had their way with that defense. I didn't think that it was going to look like that. They looked like the Legion of Boom last night. And we talk about the Josh Allen sacks. Dude, they were just relentlessly just going after this dude. But there were many, and what was more impressive about this defense from the Texans was that there were the Texans offense featuring Davis Mills at quarterback. Basically, the offense was they cooled off quite a bit throughout the rest of the game, and it could have set the defense for the Texans up for failure to where Josh Allen could have had a game-winning drive, and then the Bills escaped with a win. And we're sitting there thinking to ourselves like, damn, man, Buffalo, how the hell they pulled this one out? I don't know. But because the Houston's offense really didn't do them no favors, they kept letting the Bills hang around. But Texans defense is like, hell, man, screw all of that. We're going to close this game out now. And the 4th and 27 play that Josh Allen did that ended up being a lateral from Khalil Shakir. And I was like, okay, when I saw them convert that, I was like, this might be the moment that the Bills come back and get the win here. And then next thing you know, they're all going to talk about, oh my gosh, how heroic Josh Allen had to do in the face of this relentless pressure and all that. When really it was just bad defense on the final drive to an extent. But the defense of the Texans just regrouped and recovered themselves. That could have broken any team in that moment. You let somebody cover 4th and 27. You let somebody convert. Any other defense probably would have kind of bend the knee and then just let them score in that situation. But the Texans didn't. They kept the pressure going, got Josh Allen again with another sack. They knew they had to get another touchdown to win the ball game. And boom, Josh had to flow it over the middle, gets an interception. Well, I held my breath for a second a little bit because I thought it was going to be a penalty on the Texans, and it ended up being the offensive PI on the wide receiver, and the game was over. And D'Amico Ryans, he's one hell of a coach. He's battled through a lot of adversity, but his coaching, this is that CEO presence kind of like coach, where even though he's defensive minded, but he looks out for the entirety of the team, and he leans into the strength of his team with this one here, and they were able to rise up and get a victory. So tip my cap to the Texans, man. That was a great game for them. Great performance.
Yeah, it was a great performance. It was a good game. It was a little slow at the very beginning, but then it kind of just came down to just crash nose football at the end. And I thought for sure the Bills were going to win it when they were marching down the field and with that like 25 seconds left in the game. But then when Josh Allen threw that pick, I was like, oh, you're going home with an L. So, but anyways, let's get on to the first set of game. Well, we already. By the way, Justin and I are both 0-1 starting off this week because we both
unfortunately not.
So, and it is what it is. But anyways, let's get to it. The 8-2 Colts versus the 5-5 Chiefs. It's a 50.5 over under, 3.5 point game. Justin, Colts are coming into Arrowhead. Who are you picking?
Oh boy, oh man, I want to pick the Chiefs just because they're at home. Their team plays better at home naturally at Arrowhead. You can say that about any team at home, but the Chiefs really do play good at home, especially on defense. That crowd is just loud. They're electric, and they understand that they're wanting to show that the Colts are really not what their record indicates that they are. That there is some holes that you can power drive this team. Now, I understand as Bengals fans that a lot of Bengals fans are going to point to the defense of the Colts and see the record and think that the Colts defense is great. And Lua Anarumo, he's the mad scientist again. He was just having bad team. Like, I'm not sold on this Colts defense. I'm just not. I get it. They got some players there, but even the Sauce Gardner trade did absolutely nothing for me when I saw him play. I looked at it, was like, he just looks like another corner, and yet they gave up 2 first-round picks for this dude and absorbed his salary too. So I'm not really all that high on them. I still think that their D-line is probably the strength of their team. I do like their secondary too. They got some good pieces in the secondary outside of just Sauce Gardner. And their linebackers like Zaire Franklin. And, I know Jermaine Pratt is over there in India now too, but Jermaine Pratt ain't doing nothing near as what people thought he was going to do. Kind of like Sheldon Rankins, because I know that Sheldon Rankins, people say, oh, well, he had that 1 tackle for loss, and he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing like all the other D linemen around him are doing for Houston. Kind of like how the linebacker play is for the Colts here. Jermaine Pratt is not doing nothing nowhere close to what Zaire Franklin is doing. That's the guy. That is the main guy that the Bengals are missing. And I think that he is the anchor that sets that team apart. But the Chiefs, I'm going to call it what it is. I just do not think they're a very great team, just like a lot of teams are in the AFC. I think that this is a very average team. I am going to go with the Chiefs to win in this game because at the end of the day, if you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes at the helm, he's at home. I don't see the Colts, even though their record insinuates that they're a good ball club, I just don't feel like that this is a spot where I am comfortable picking them in this spot here. And instead, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs in a bounce back win here.
Yeah, so I like what the Colts offense is doing. They brought in Tyler Warren from Penn State as tight end. He's been having a pretty good season. Jonathan Taylor, I think he's probably one of the best running backs in the game today now.
Phenomenal.
He's having a great season. It's a great season. Danny Dimes is rejuvenated from coming from New York and seeing what happened over there in that mess. Then you got, but then you're playing against, this era's GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can, and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, I was expecting the Chiefs to win last week against that nonchalant Broncos offense. Like that offense hasn't been good for the last couple of weeks. But the Chiefs couldn't get it done against the Broncos as well. I'm going to go with the Colts. I don't think the Chiefs get it done. I'm going to go with the Colts. I'm picking. I just feel like with Jonathan Taylor as a running back, as well as he's running that football, I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be the deciding factor of running the damn football, and the Colts pull it off. Probably, maybe a 3-point. I'll say a 3.6 point game. But I'm picking the Colts.
Let me say this too. If the Colts do win and Jonathan Taylor has another outing like he did before like how he's been all season, and then starts cooking them, like he's the anchor. Because when I think of the Colts offense, it's him. So I just don't think of Danny Dimes for real, even though I like that he's really reestablished himself this year with them under Shane Steichen. But I just feel like Jonathan Taylor is the nucleus and the core that leads this team. If the Colts do win and he has another great game, I think you can make your mark and stamp on this one that he should be the MVP in the NFL. I believe he should be. I already think that he should be the front runner, but it's just you already know how that award's going to go. It's going to go to a quarterback. Yeah, Matt Stafford. But I really believe that if this Colts team goes on the road and wins this game at Arrowhead, at Kansas City, a premier opponent, it ain't like the Chiefs are a bunch of bums, even though I know I just criticized them that they kind of look average this year. But it's still Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. They still got the big names on there. The Super Bowl, the AFC Super Dogs here, as it's the AFC that reigns at the top of the conference. They still it's still them. Okay. If they go on the road and get that win there, and Jonathan Taylor performs excellent like he always has done so far this year, dog, I don't think that you can give anybody else the award but him. But I think still it's going to ultimately decide that he's going to probably get the Offensive Player of the Year. But I am a fan of what he's doing. For me, it's just I've seen this song and dance. I've seen this a little bit of this movie before. The Chiefs the pressure's going to be on their back because they got a short week playing on Thanksgiving the following Thursday, and they have to win here because they're at Dallas on Thanksgiving night. And so you got to get a win somewhere. You already dropped against the Broncos. If you drop this home game, there's a good chance that you drop against Dallas too, even though I kind of don't like the Dallas defense, but it did look good last week.
It did look good, but they were playing against the Raiders, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah, I take that back. Okay, I take that back. Yeah, but Quinnen Williams, he was nice. They acquired him, got 1.5 sacks. So there's some underrated factors of Dallas, but we're not going to talk about them. We're still stuck on this game, but we're different. We're splitting. All right, man. The pressure's going to be on for both of us.
Yeah. So next game is the Giants and the Detroit Lions. Giants are coming in at 2-9. The Detroit Lions are coming at 6-4. A 50.5 over under, 12.5 point spread. I'm gonna just say it right now. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. After that last week's loss, I think Detroit, and it's at home in Detroit, and we know what's going on in New York right now. The rookie quarterback, he did not pass concussion protocol, so Jameis Winston will be starting this game. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions, Detroit over everybody for this game. Justin, who you going with?
It's hard not to go with the Lions in this situation here. I know the Lions are also going to be at home for Thanksgiving traditionally, and I think that it's going to be one of those things that they want to make their fans happy during this part of the year as well too. The game before Thanksgiving and including Thanksgiving, kind of like a nice little double dip effort. This is a sneaky trap game though for them because this is why Jameis Winston is coming out and playing, and he's ruled out. Jackson Dar's ruled out is he still with the concussion, right?
Yeah.
This is Jameis Winston plays like this is why Bengals fans wanted him at quarterback if it's trade for him when they was trying to find options before they ended up landing on Joe Flacco, who's been fine. But I can't go against the Lions in this spot either. I know their offense did not look good against the Eagles last week, but that to me was more of a testament to how great the Eagles defense has been and not necessarily how bad the Lions has been looked on offense. There are games where you just spin your tires and you turn your key in ignition, your car just don't start on some days. You got to grind out a win. And the Lions, I think that they went through that test. They went through that adversity to prepare them for the next week because the Giants, they can get after you too.
Right.
But I just think that the Lions are going to be better prepared for this. I do like what I see from the Giants still, even without the presence of Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart now is out, and also Cam Scatterable. We're pointing at the names there, but their defensive line is pretty much rings as one of the better in the units in the league as well too. With Dexter Lawrence, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Brian Burns, and you still got the number 2 overall pick Abdul Carter, and so they still got a pass rush that can really scare you if you try to get too comfortable with it. But I think that the Lions, they ultimately understand the play calling aspect of things, and I think that while it's not Ben Johnson calling their plays, I think that they understand what they need to do to be able to beat this pass rush and win the game here, especially at home. So give me the Lions too.
All right. Both go with the Lions. Next up, the Jets and the Ravens. Jets, Jets. Oh, you suck, Jets. 2-8 Jets versus the 5-5 Baltimore Ravens. 44.5 over under. 13.5 point game. Justin, who are you taking? The Jets versus the Ravens.
The Jets are on the road at Baltimore, bro. This is the biggest spread of the week. Okay, this is insane. They may sneakily cover this spread, actually, but I find it hard to go against the Ravens. I think that the Ravens they're getting hot at the right time. They understand what the maps out in front of them. Just keep winning. Because at some point, the Steelers are going to slip up and lose some more games down the stretch. And the AFC North is going to be there for the taking. The Jets they're not the Jets. This is not going against the Bengals and the Browns. They're going against the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens defense has been playing better these last few weeks. I'm still not full. I still have my reservations out on them because the teams that they've beaten their defenses have beaten has still not been good offenses, so to speak, or just teams that just made stupid decisions. But I got to trust the Baltimore Ravens here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens as well because, you still have Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP. He can just do things that it's unimaginable what Lamar can do. I know he was battling some injuries, off and on. But yes, the defense has been stepping up and playing better football. And they're kind of coming into their skin right in time, right in the right moment of the schedule of starting to play better defense. I think, if they keep on the path they're going, like Justin said, they could mess around and find them on top of the AFC North. That being said, let's go on to another AFC North versus the New England Patriots. The Patriots versus the Bengals. Patriots are coming into Cincinnati at 1 p.m. The 9-2 Patriots versus the 3-7 Cincinnati Bengals. It's 51.5 over under, 7-point spread. If you watched us on Wednesday, you already knew who we took. But like I said last week, since this is not a Running Through the Jungle show, this is not a Bengals show, we're going to tell you who we picked. I picked the New England Patriots to win because look at our defense. I don't care which Joe is playing on Sunday. I don't care if it's Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow. I don't care. It doesn't matter because our defense has been playing atrocious football. They seem to just fall asleep in the second half and just are not playing complimentary football. It's been like this for weeks. Anyways, I'm picking the Patriots over the Bengals. Justin, I already know who you picked on Wednesday, but who are you picking today on our show, Bengals or the Patriots?
Yeah, my stance has not changed with this one. I'm also picking the Patriots in this spot. The age question that we have this week is Joe Burrow going to play? That's been the conversation talking about on national scales because he has been in full go in practice these last couple of days here. Mm-hmm. And Joe Flacco is still nursing that injured shoulder. And he's 41 years old. And unfortunately, I got to get a Joe out there. And if it ain't going to be Joe Flacco, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, the man that wants to play. He plays possessed. And I need him out there. And he's just the right guy to kind of recapture the energy and the enthusiasm for this Bengals team. Because I damn sure ain't going to send Jake Browning out there. But regardless, man, I'm going to go with the Patriots in this game just because even if Joe Burrow would have come back and play, it will take a crazy heroic effort over the New England Patriots, who's just playing great football left and right. I just don't see the Bengals in that spot just pulling off the upset, even though if Joe Burrow does assuming if Joe Burrow plays, and if he does do that, we talking crazy because then I think that we have some things to kind of discuss about. The season's still over for the Bengals, by the way, but I'm not going to be living myself in that shoes to where I guess to make this assumption that we're going to be back. We are so man. No, I'm done with all hearing that talk too. I think that the Patriots, they just got the better team right now. They just have the better team. We obviously have the better quarterback with Joe Burrow if he's playing, but they have a way better team right now. They have a better culture, better organization right now. So let's stick with them.
All right. Next up is the Seahawks versus the Titans. Oh, you know what? Hold on. No. We need to take a commercial break. Actually,
because we're gonna keep running. We're gonna keep riding.
We're gonna keep going and going and going, and then Brandon's gonna be like, "You guys didn't." Well, if he remembers to post this on the podcast world, you guys didn't take a commercial break. So let's take a commercial break. We'll be. Wait a minute. Where's my commercial break thingy at? Oh, there it is. We'll be right back. Hold on. Might help if I mute this music. We're still here. But hold on a second. I know I'm. Yep. There we go. Be right back.
We have to be right back. Just talking behind the scenes. We're talking behind the scenes.
Silence. All right, welcome back to the Friday night NFL Pickup Show. Sorry, y'all. I'm just like I with all these buttons I gotta push, I gotta find them, and I'm like, where the hell are they? But anyways, there's our commercial break. Thank you guys for coming back through to the NFL Pick'em Show with your boy Justin and me, Tim Lyons, from Running Through the Jungle. Let's see here. Let's pick up where we stopped at. Next up was the Seahawks and the Titans. Seahawks 7-3, Titans 1-9, 40.5 over under, a 12.5 point game. Justin, who you taking?
Seahawks, man, they're a great team, but I do think that the Titans will cover the spread here.
You think so?
I think that spread is too large, and I get it. The Seahawks are just cooking with fish grease right now. I love everything about their offense as far as Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is having a crazy season as to now people are just inserting him as the best wide receiver in the league this year. He's having that Chad Johnson 2005 kind of ascension for me, and I'm really excited watching. It's been really great watching him this year. But the reason why I have the Titans potentially covering the spread here, even though because for one, it's a large spread, 12.5, the second largest of the week. Number two, I really think that Cam Ward has been playing better football than what people are seeing here. And I also think that on the other side, Jeff Simmons is just tired of watching this team lose. We talked about so much about accountability for the Bengals on defense. There ain't nobody stepping up. Well, the Titans, they got a leader on that side of the ball, and this Jeff Simmons. And he ain't trying to see this losing. He's tired of it, man. They already fired Brian Callahan as their head coach. They already got an interim guy there. They're just trying to figure out a way of who's going to be around for the next wave of guys moving forward. And this is a team that you can kind of fall really in love with going into next year if they get the pieces together right. But I think this is a game that really kind of gets people to understand, like, this team is a little bit tougher than what I think people give them credit for. Now, therefore, I say they can get their asses beat like crazy, and then all of it will be all for naught. But at the end of the day, I still like to think that they at least make it a good enough game and up until the end. Then they just Seahawks pull away. They just go crazy on them. The Titans are at home. Like, the Titans are at home here. It ain't like they were in the 12th man going across the country in Seattle, bro, at the 12th man, bro. Like, but
right.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time divulging these theories. I think that I think we'll feel the same way on this one. The Seahawks are going to win this game, bro.
Yeah, I'm going with the Seahawks too. They're the better team. And I think Sam Darnold bounces back for this week because last week he had 4 interceptions. He just, he's playing against that Rams defense also and was trying to force the ball down the field.
Right.
That was a great game actually. Stafford versus Sam Darnold in the Seahawks. So, but I'm taking the Seahawks this week. I don't have any faith in the Titans. I don't care who the coach is right now with this team. Cam Ward, he's thrown for almost 2,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I'm not impressed with him, and I'm not going to blame the kid. I'm not going to blame the kid at all. He came in
rookie
from
numbers.
Yeah, he came from college football to the Tennessee Titans and Brian Callahan. I thought Brian Callahan would have had a little bit better influence on him, but no, I think that organization, it just they jumped the gun on hiring Brian Callahan. To be honest with you,
they never should have let Mike Vrabel go, man. See. And real quick, because I'm not going to be too crazy with it. This is the downside of only hiring a position coach. Like, everybody loves the offensive wizardry in this day in NFL coaching cycles, and this is the downside when you try to hire only an offensive-minded coach. Brian Callahan never called plays when he was a Bengals offensive coordinator, and then you bring him in as a head coach because Joe Burrow basically got him that job, and you see that he could not set the tone for the culture for what it is, a rugged kind of Midwestern/Southern city, and like it is in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel had that team on lock. The Titans were really, with Mike Vrabel, kind of like a sub AFC North kind of style like team, where they were smash mouth football. They had great defenses and stuff like that.
Yep.
Brian Callahan it's just not the right culture for what Tennessee really needed, and they just kicked the guy that had the right culture from out the door. So that's a bad ownership. That was bad front office management on that part.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. I remember when the Bengals would play the Titans the Titans every freaking year. And
Man.
those dogs would get at Joe Burrow like, it was just that defense was just ready to rock, ready to eat. But anyways, let's go on to the next one. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming in at 6-4. The Bears 7-3. 4.5 point, or excuse me, 4.5. Oh my gosh, 45.5 over under, and a 2.5 point game. The Steelers are coming into the Bears on Sunday. I'm going to pick, and you know what? And I've told you guys this from the very beginning. I don't like Caleb Williams, but I like the Bears are winning. I like the Bears winning football. But the Steelers defense, after I'm seeing them last week, they kind of recouped against the Bengals. The Bengals, they played great football. The defense did. But that being said, I think I'm going to go with, screw it. I'm going with the Bears. The Bears are going to win at home against the Steelers. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is playing or not. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, who cares? He's going to get handed an L. I'm going with the Bears. Justin, who are you going with? The Steelers or the Bears?
Would you believe me if I told you that the Steelers haven't beaten the Bears since 2005?
No shit.
Yeah. The Steelers' last win against the Chicago Bears, and it was in the Windy City, was in 2005. Actually, it was in Pittsburgh, actually. They played again in 2009 against Jay Cutler. They lost. 4 years later, they played in 2013, and they lost in Pittsburgh. And in 2017, Jordan Howard ran all over them during that day, and they lost in against the Bears.
That's
and
with
then
Trubisky
4 years,
the quarterback, right?
And and then 4 years after that, in 2021, they may have actually won that game. Actually, now I think about it, maybe not, because 2021 that was Ben Roethlisberger's last year, and then in 2022, then now. So they possibly could have won 2020. I don't recall that too much. I just know that was just a bad Steelers team that walked their way into the playoffs, and they never should have even been there to begin with. But in this, let's assess this overall team enough as it is right now as it stands. Yeah. The Steelers team is just not good enough either. But go ahead.
2021 was the last Steelers win over the Bears. Steelers
won. So they did win in 21.
Yeah, 29-27.
Okay. Close. Close win. Yeah, but close. as you saw the previous matchups, it was the last one was 2005. There's that crazy Jerome Bettis last year Super Bowl win and whatnot. But yeah, so they ended up getting a win in 2021. Before that, they had a bad record against Chicago. But the Steelers team is not good, man. I don't care what everybody says about their record. I don't pay too much attention to how they won last week's game. Last week's game is more of an indictment on how bad the Bengals are and not necessarily how good the defense of the Steelers have been. They've rebounded a little bit. The real Steelers showed up when the week prior, when they went on the road at LA Chargers and they just got steamrolled. That's the real Steelers for me. Their offense is absolutely just disgustingly bad. Okay. And the Bengals made them look good when they were ground and pounding and running the ball. I do think, though, that the Bears defense is not all that good either. But they made a low-risk signing with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and he's really kind of stabilized the ship in that secondary to where they're allowing those guys to hit. I still like this team on defense still, but the Steelers could run the ball better in this game. These are two grinded, tough monsters of the midway type of cities, but I do like the Bears in this game too, so I'm going to trust that they'll come out with a victory here. As far as Pittsburgh's defense goes, going against Caleb Williams, he better figure out about running the ball better because he is super skittish in the pocket, and I do not like his ability to be able to, pass the ball quite a bit in this game because he just doesn't have the great pocket presence, in my opinion. He just relies on his athleticism to be able to make plays out of structure, and I don't know if he can do that quite often against the Steelers defense all the time. But I do think that you have an opportunity just to be able to beat them and gash them on the ground here if you just stick to the game plan. And I think that they will. So I'm going to go with the Bears in this game too. I think they do notch a couple of turnovers. If Aaron Rodgers is playing, I know that he historically owns the Chicago Bears, but I just can't pick the Steelers in this one here. They may surprise me. Sure, I'm willing to admit that. It is a close spread, 2.5 point Bears favoring in this game. I just can't go with the I can't go with the Steelers in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, Vikings 4-6, Packers 6-3-1. Over under is 41.5, 6.5 point game. Justin, since I picked first last game, you can go ahead and pick Vikings or the Packers.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm not betting on JJ McCarthy ever again. So yeah, that's another one of those teams that we pick. And I think that I got a good read on them just because of who they have and who they might be. And I'm always getting bitten behind when it comes to this. The Vikings are one of those teams to me. One week you beat the Detroit Lions in a comeback fashion late in the fourth quarter, and now you have this rejuvenated, super cerebral feeling that, oh my God, JJ McCarthy, he's coming back to play. He goes by this alter ego 9 when he enters the fourth quarter, and then you get steamrolled by the Ravens and you look like trash. And I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. And then when I try to pick you again, to thinking you're going to rebound and you lose again. Mm-hmm. So, am I sold on this Green Bay Packers team? Dude, I've kind of like sold my stock on some of this Packer team. Now I still got some chips on them because I still think that they're having some of that midseason lull or whatever. But I sold some shares on this, sold some of my Packer stock as far as like being one of the best teams in the NFC to win, like make the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But I do believe in them more than I do believe in the Vikings, and that's saying a lot. That's not saying too much right now because both defense are kind of playing. The Vikings have a good defense. Brian Flores, he's a great defensive coordinator. And I still like the Packers defense. And I think that they are too familiar enough to know how this is going to play itself out. But give me the home team, man. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers in this spot here. I just can't do it no more with the Vikings. I'm done. Look, in future games, if the matchup is obvious, sure. Can they prove me wrong in this spot too? Sure, but I ain't about to waste my time on them in this week's slot here. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, the Vikings have they started off hot and they kind of fizzled out a little bit. We pick them to win, they lose. I'm just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I said last week, the Packers, I think they look good, but I don't think they look as good as they did in the very beginning of the season. When it comes to defensive wise, even offensive wise, they're not looking as good as they do. But they're going into Lambeau on Sunday. It's going to be like 40 degrees, 43 degrees on Sunday. I think it's what it was, 40 something on Sunday. JJ McCarthy, not a big supporter of him. He hasn't. And I had a feeling that it would happen because this is really his freshman year. Mason has not been running the football very well. The Vikings just have not been looking good, and they're going, like I said, and they're going into Lambeau. I'm picking the Packers over the Vikings all day, every day when it comes to playing in Lambeau. Maybe at the end of the year, because I think the Vikings and Packers play the last game of the season. I think the Vikings win that game, but I'm going to say Packers for this week.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. Next up, the Browns versus the Raiders, the 2-8 Browns and Raiders, 36.5 over under, 3.5 point game. Shedeur Sanders' first NFL start. Going into LA, well, actually, I'm sorry, not LA, Las Vegas. Going into Las Vegas at 4:05. Justin, I'm going to pick the Cleveland Browns to win this game. They just have the better defense. But wait a minute. Hold on. I'm jumping the gun here. Because if you look at their defenses are pretty much almost like a mirror, believe it or not. You have Max Crosby for the Raiders, and you got Myles Garrett for the Browns. But you look at their offense, they're pretty much, we'll say, about mirror. Besides, Shedeur Sanders is a rookie quarterback, his first NFL start. Geno Smith is looking like you should retire after this season kind of quarterback. Ashton Genty, that Cowboys defense shut his ass down. What he got, like 6 yards? I think it was that Monday game. He had like 6 yards. That's all he had. It was awful. So I think with the, you know what? Yeah. So I'm going to say this is, I think the Browns have the better defense. I think the Browns can make some magic happen when it comes to the run game with Quinton Junkins and, you know, and Shador. Well, Shador really doesn't run the ball very much. He likes to kind of sit and drift off in the pocket. And that's what I fear for him, especially with Max Crosby being on that right side of the offensive line. But I'm still going to pick the Browns over the Raiders. I just feel like they have a better team. No, well, I won't say better team. It's a better matchup for them. We'll just put it that way. I'm picking the Browns. Justin, I'm just babbling on. Who the hell are you picking?
Both of these teams stink, and they both are very similar to each other just because of what you just outlined. But you're saying that just by the names that they have on the jerseys. The Browns got Myles Garrett. The Raiders got Max Crosby. The Browns are starting Shador Sanders, who was a turnover fest last week in this inserted action playing football. Geno Smith can't stop turning the ball over. The Browns have good pieces on their secondary and as well in their linebacking core. The Raiders have solid productions-esque-ish, whatever, with names that they've had on their secondary too. But don't get me wrong. These are both terrible fucking teams. Excuse my language as I said that. I am so sorry. But when I get heightened up with emotions, I'm sorry, we'll bleep that out later. But these are two badass teams right now. And every time I try to think that the Browns have a good enough defense that can sort of carry them wins, they just truly collapse in epic fashion. Last week was a golden opportunity for the Browns to be able to stake their claim and pull off the upset of the year going against a red hot Ravens team and in their house, in their facility, and I was thinking that like, yeah, this is going to be a tough battle for the Ravens. I still picked the Ravens to win, but I knew it was going to be a tough out, and I called it, and it was going to be a tough out, and the Browns should have won that game, but the defense broke down just like they do in all kinds of ways. And then the Raiders they just can't finish. I just don't know if I believe in this team moving forward and going into future years. Next year, they got to blow that whole thing all up, with the exception of some of their core guys, obviously. But this could be made for a fun game, just because it is just two bad teams are very familiar in how they look when it comes to staring across the other sideline too. I'm going to go with the Browns again. I'm going to just risk it, but I ain't risking no chips on this one. The reason why is because of this. This would be the location, and this would be the game that Shador Sanders and his fan base is going to just arrive. And I made the comparison to LeBron, not because he's LeBron, he's not, but his polarizing presence as far as how he just captures all of the national attention over this offseason, what happened to him in the draft, and him sliding all the way down to the 5th round when you thought this dude was going to be top 10, no question. And then now he's been buried on the depth chart as a 3rd-string quarterback. And you knew that at some point he was going to get some action and start playing football this year. It just took this week to do it. And this would be a place in Las Vegas where you may see a lot of the Shador fans coming to this game. And then next thing you know, it's going to be the start of the Shador following crowd. They looked at last week and said that, oh, man, he just threw 2 picks. He sucks. But this game is probably going to be the game that will really juke somebody out, because next thing he's going to win this game. And then now everybody's like, oh, Shador's, we should have started Shador all along. They're going to play that card. I know how this thing goes. That's why I'm picking the Browns in this spot. It's going to probably end with Geno Smith, whizzing the ball deep down the field to try to heave something out of a desperation prayer, and it just gets tipped and intercepted. And then the Browns are going to just go home with a victory here. The Raiders fall to 2-9. Browns go to 3-8. And the Shador Linsanity thing is going to happen for a week, and everybody's going to bet on Shador Sanders numbers moving forward. I bet you that's what's going to happen.
Probably. I bet I'm not doubting you. I think you're 100% right on that. Next, next up, the Jaguars 6-4, Cardinals 3-7, 2.5 point game, or I'm sorry, 2.5 point spread, 47.5 over under. Justin, here we go. Jaguars and Cardinals. You know what the Jaguars been doing to us. So, who you taking, bro?
Got one more with me. And I did that 3 times because I truly just don't want to pick either one of these two teams. I really don't. But if I am going to pick one, I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this spot, even though I know Jacoby Brissett is starting. And I don't have any real logic behind it, but I just got this gut feeling that the Cardinals can pick out the upset here. I'm not fooled by what I saw from Jacksonville last week. I know that they pulled off a can of whoop ass on the LA Chargers, and they proved both of us wrong because we picked the Chargers to win this game. But I'm not going to shy away from the analysis that we gave on the reason why we picked the Chargers. It's not like we believe in the Chargers either. It's just that we felt like that the Jaguars have just been more of a disappointment compared to them. This team has stayed afloat in the AFC. But I also think that they saw what Houston did on Thursday night, and they're looking around the AFC South, and they're thinking like, man, the pressure's on us. We got to win. And I feel like that going out west from the South Florida, in Florida where they are, all the way out to Arizona, this might be a trap game for them as well too. We keep saying trap game a lot because that's really a common staple to say on this show. I get it. The Cardinals are probably still starting Jacoby Brissett, but Jacoby Brissett has been a fine backup, man. Yeah, he's been good. He beat us in week 1 last year. So, I mean, he knows how to get the ball to his best players and to his receivers. He knows how to He knows how to run a sustainable offense. And I still like their pieces on defense. I like what I see from the young guys on the Cardinals team. So give me the Cardinals. Am I picking them because I feel like I believe in them? No, it's not that. It's just more so the fact of the matter is that I think this is a spot where they can grab a nice win for them to move forward as they build for the future years.
All right. Well, this is going to be a game that you and I picked opposite. I'm picking the Jaguars. This is going to either give me the lead over Justin next week, or I'm going to fall and be like, you got me on this one. I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, what they did against the Chargers, you know, they surprised me. And I'm probably going to eat crow here because I'm picking the Jaguars. Justin, you could be 100% right. Both of these teams, it's just, you know, I've never been a Trevor Lawrence really supporter. You know, even when he was in college, you know, and then he came to the NFL, but Jacksonville's got the better team offensively, I believe. So I'm picking Jacksonville. That's my reasoning. That's why I'm sticking to it. Next up,
it is. All right.
Yep. Next up is the Eagles. What the hell's going on? The 8-2 Eagles versus the 4-5-1 Cowboys. 3-point spread, 47.5 over under. You know what? This week, I'm not even going to doubt Austin's art. I'm going to pick the Eagles to beat the Cowboys because even though I still have zero faith in that Eagles offense, but I have faith in their defense. Their defense is playing good football. That being said, they're playing against the Cowboys. You know, the Cowboys, they played great against the Raiders. Their defense played great. But I don't know if their defense can stand up to the Eagles offensively, to be honest with you. I'm picking the Eagles over the Cowboys. Justin, who are you taking? Good choice.
Yeah, bro. We're going to be on the same side here, okay? Austin's already in the chat cooking up with the comments, following along with the show. Yes, we are going to both pick the Eagles in this one. At some point, the Eagles got to get right on offense. A.J. Brown is going to get right at some point, even though I hate what's happening with how the mentality of the locker room is going on with the Eagles. Can they lose this game? Sure, they can. The Cowboys have been a little bit better than what people are thinking and giving them credit for. I am not now. Okay, I was going to say I am not of the camp to believe that they have this crazy historic defense. They did. Okay, I mean it's historic bad defense. They absolutely did, and they were on track to be with that. But unlike the Bengals, the Cowboys actually did something to make sure that they can sustain. They can play better. They've acquired Quentin Williams in the trade. Logan Wilson, I was not impressed with the production that I saw against the Raiders. I know Bengals fans are going to see him make a tackle in a tip pass, and he didn't do nothing in that game that he did differently. He looked slow out there, and Cowboys fans are going to see that. I think that there was some people that actually saw that. It's like, dude, Logan Wilson just looks slow. Yeah, I know. This is why he wasn't starting for the Bengals. Okay, I get it. That's the captain. He was all that, but he requested a trade because he lost the starting job. But he lost the starting job because he's not that good anymore. And you saw it against the Raiders last week. So the Eagles, to me, also have a defensive formula that they know how to slow down high-powering offense for some reason. And it's just and it continues to impress me week in and week out. Like, damn, this team, I thought they lost a lot of turnover guys. They turned over the roster a little bit there. They lost Milt Williams in free agency. They lost a number of different guys in free agency or just to injury in general, yet they got better. They playing better football. Their offense just needs to get back on track. I trust that at some point, they're a Super Bowl caliber team. They're going to make it happen. Give me the Eagles in this one here. I know this is a rematch because they played week 1 at Philadelphia, and that was the game infamous Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott before they even took the first snap. That was crazy, bro. Like, and he got ejected. Well, Jalen Carter's not doing that this time around. So he better be playing. So, and that defense looks so much better when he's on the field. And it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys. But I do think that the outside receiving duo of CeeDee Lamb is now George Pickens. Yeah, the Eagles going to have their hands full when it comes to those two guys. But I think that the Eagles defense, they just know how to develop the formula to really slow down a high receiving passing attack. They did it to the Bengals last year when we saw them here in the stadium in the jungle.
With a rookie.
They can, yeah, exactly. And now these guys are a little bit more experienced. This is the time when they start to turn on the turbo jets to realize that, all right, we got to make something happen. We're 8-2. And we gotta button down and buckle up because this is the back end stretch of the season. Get ready for the playoffs. What way to get started in that regard on offense than the Dallas Cowboys? So give me the Eagles for that reason.
All right. Next up, the 3-7 Falcons versus the 2-8 Saints. I about said 2-8 Aints.
2-8 Saints.
2-8 Saints. 40.5 over under 2.5 points spread. Justin.
Oh boy, God. Do I have to pick?
Yes, you have. This is the title of this show, Justin, is NFL Pick'em Show. So we have to pick.
All right, you know what, bro? Okay, let's be fun here. Whichever one that I take, you got to take the opposite just for the sheer fun of it, just to be able to at least just to be able to at least be able to talk about, like, argue the case for who we taking or who we not. I don't believe in either one of these two teams. Like, the Falcons I can see winning, the Saints I can see winning. I can also see a tie because both teams are not good right now, and the Falcons are starting an old, aging, washed up Kirk Cousins, and the Saints are just flat out awful. I'm going to start with the Falcons though, and I'll take the Falcons in this spot here just because they still got some talent. They still got some talent that you can lean on. I'm not going to mention Bijan Robinson because I know that's the first guy a lot of normal casual fans of NFL watchers like to mention because he has the name cachet to him. But Tyler Algier is the running back that is going to be the bulk of the carriers of this one here. I still like Drake London, and just feel like, oh, he is out. Oh no, God! Oh God, man! Now, why did I pick the Falcons? Can I change my mind?
You can do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know he's out. Drake London's out.
Okay. Oh man, shoot. All right. Let me just stick with the Falcons, bro. I don't even care at this point. I like the Falcons players, young pieces on defense. I also still like Jesse Bates. I know Bengals fans are going to talk about him ad nauseum. I'm not in this game, but give me the Falcons, I guess. I'll take the Falcons in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons as well. Why? Well, they have one Bijan Robinson as a running back. I know Kirk Cousins is coming back and playing, but the Saints just like I'm like questioning and should the Saints even show up on Sunday at all, because it's like you don't know what you're going to get. And the Saints have surprised us twice already this year so far and have ruined my picks before. And the Falcons have ruined my picks as well. Like last week, they should have won that game and they lost it. So, but with Bijan Robinson being on my fantasy football team, I'm picking the Falcons over the Saints as well.
The fact that this is a late window game really makes me upset, because I'm like, all right, y'all think that y'all got Matt Ryan versus Drew Brees here, and y'all don't. Okay,
right.
Why are we having this game in the 4:25 slot here? Well, 1:25 for your time, but 4:25 the afternoon, the late window games here. That's typically reserved for if you're on the West Coast, or for the most part, if you want to get more of an audience to watch the team play. These two teams are awful. Okay, I would have given them hope, and I definitely would have picked the Falcons to win comfortably if they had Michael Penix Jr. back, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. And it's a washed up Kirk Cousins this time around, and he really looked washed up the last time we saw him on the field. So, but I'm still going to go with the Falcons too, just because I don't know.
Right. Next up. All right. Next up. Now, this is going to be a good game here. Sunday night football game. We have the 6-4 Panthers coming into the LA Rams at 8-2, 49.5 over under, 6.5 point game. Justin, who you going with, bud?
Ooh, boy, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good game, man. This is gonna be a good game. All right. I love everything about what the Rams are doing. Matthew Stafford's playing like an MVP caliber player. You got Puka Nacua, who is going to be a contender for the Offensive Player of the Year award, while Matt Stafford wins MVP. A lot like how we were anticipating a Bengals season being last year or even this year. And you got Devontae Adams is just still the wily veteran that still knows how to get up. He's kind of entering his Larry Fitzgerald caliber type years, to where he don't need to be the number one or the true guy out there. He just got to show the alpha presence in the receiving room, on offense, period. And then next thing you know, man, these guys are just going to just play hard for him, just because they know they got him as the calming presence in the force. They also got a good defensive line. But I also like what the Buccaneers got going on too. They going to get some guys back, I assume, this week. And I think what I saw from them on the road at Buffalo was more impressive, even though they lost that game. Yeah. And Baker showed me that when he goes against another high caliber quarterback across from him, even though he's probably considered lesser than those guys on the totem pole when it comes to the stack rankings of quarterbacks, he has the mentality to compete up to those guys. Now, last week it was against Josh Allen, and honestly, I predicted that game exactly how it went. It was a back and forth affair between those two. 9 lead changes. I didn't expect 9 lead changes, but I expected just a track meet, and that's what it was until late in the fourth quarter, as I also often predicted with Buffalo. That's how they just kind of just storm off and get a win there. Something similar can also happen with this game too, but the Rams defense is just really good. This might be the game that gives me the L here, but I think I might pick the Bucs to pull off the upset win against the Rams. I'm sorry. I think that's where I'm going to go.
All right. So you're going with the Bucs, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to be bold to do it. I'm a little timid. I'm a little gun shy, but I think it's one of those where it's like I got the gun in my hand. I'm like a 13-year-old kid, never fired a gun before, and I'm just doing this, and I'm covering my eyes, like hoping I hit a target. Shoot, fire! Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like. That's what I'm doing right now.
You'll shoot your eye out, Ralphie.
Like the comfortable choice probably be with the Rams here, and that would be all well and fine for most people in that instance, but. Man, I think that there still could be something there to be had for the Buccaneers, man. They're going to win that division, but they also know that the Carolina Panthers are on their heels too. And they got a tough matchup against the Rams, more than the Panthers matchup that we're going to talk about here shortly. Just give me the Bucs, man. I think the upset is going to happen here.
Yeah, so, like I'm looking at this game, I pulled up their injury report, and the Rams, they don't have anybody injured this week. The Buccaneers still have Bucky Irvin out. Chris Godwin's questionable. Looks like an offensive lineman's questionable, or he is out. I can't remember what it was. But Baker Mayfield, he'll try to go toe to toe with whoever the quarterback is. But unfortunately for Baker and the Bucks in Austin, because this is another one of his teams. I don't know what kind of shit is this. But anyways, unfortunately for them, I don't think they can stand toe to toe with that Rams defense. That Rams defense they're playing some good football. With having Matt Stafford on the other side of the ball, with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, their run game. I don't think Baker has. I don't think he has it to go toe to toe with Matt Stafford. I just don't. I just feel like, and I might be calling this too early. I think Matt Stafford wins MVP, and possibly they go to the Super Bowl. If they stay healthy with this season and keep on the road that they're going on, they might lose maybe 2 more games, maybe. But there's a possibility they could be a high seed in this playoff and win that NFC West. So I'm going with the Rams over the Bucks.
Real quick, can you pull up the Rams rest of the remaining schedule for the Rams real quick? Because I want to see something. Because I know obviously this game, but I know that they got the Seahawks still left to play, another matchup with them, and I know that they still got the 49ers as well too, who they already lost to earlier in the year on the Thursday night slate. But I also think that they can get their get back as well too. I just got to see the rundown of how the rest of their schedule look like here, because. At some point, there's got to be a slip up somewhere, because I just don't see the Rams going 15-2 and winning out, even though they have the talent and they have the roster that probably could. But something tells me that there's going to be a slip up at least here. That Seahawks match, that rematch against Seattle probably is going to be one of them, and the other one could be here.
Yeah, so they have the Bucks, they have the Panthers, the Cardinals, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Falcons, and then the Cardinals again.
Okay. I will venture to say that they take care of business against every one of their division foes remaining on their schedule, minus Seattle. I think that they are due for a loss with that one. Sure, the obvious game against the Lions kind of stand out with you, and you never know. The Panthers also might be a sneaky good one for them too, based off of how they're looking. But I think I trust the Rams in that spot, even though they're on the road there. But outside of that, who else are you really betting on for real that can really take out this Rams team? Yeah, and it probably is the Buccaneers in this spot here.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying they could lose 2, maybe 3 games.
More,
because this Buccaneers game is one of them. The Detroit Lions is one of them, and the Seahawks is one of them. And they might even lose the very last game of the season versus the Cardinals because the rest of their starters. So, you're still looking, like I said, 2 to 3 losses maybe to come. But right now, the way they're setting, they got the Cardinals twice, they got the Falcons, and the Panthers. That's 4 more games they're going to win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't see, outside of this one and potentially the Seahawks, but I don't see them losing another game. And I think that it bodes well. They're going to set up for the number 1 seed, and this time it sets them up for success to be able to have teams go to LA and travel to their house to be able to make it to the Super Bowl. The road going to go through the Rams. It's going to be the Rams' house for that one. So, yeah, but. I just had to get that quick look to see how does the rest of their schedule shake out, because I think that's a good little talking point for them.
Yeah, and we're covering NFL football. We're not covering the Bengals right now. We're covering all NFL football. That was a great thing to share with everybody too, to see who the Rams had left. So let's come to our final game, our Monday night game, the 6-5 Panthers versus the 7-4 49ers. 49.5 over under, 7-point spread. Justin, you know what? I'm gonna let you go ahead and pick first. Who are you picking, the Panthers or the 49ers?
Oh, should I really pick the Panthers again? Man, they're gonna be my kryptonite, bro. They're gonna ruin me. I'm going to pick the 49ers. And the reason why I'm picking the 49ers is because they got Brock Purdy back, and their team looks much better with him instead of Mac Jones. Now, they still have other injuries across the board as well too, and I still worry about that. And nothing that I didn't say it about the Panthers, and I was like, oh, I'm not sold on you, but this could be the spot where the Panthers can get a nice win against a team that they have no business beating, and they're going to be like, okay, wow, Carolina, look at them, look at Dave Canales, look at Bryce Young, and it can be that. This could be the week for that, but I'm not willing to pick them in this spot here. Let me go with the 49ers, and I think that they just have a nice closing out. Well, I'll say comfortable win, probably not. But this is going to be a game that I'm going to pay a little bit more closer attention to now that it's going to be nationally televised to be able to see what the hell I've been talking about. What the hell am I watching with the Panthers to begin with? I think it's a good opportunity for that. But for me, I'll just stick to what I feel like I know with the 49ers I'm going to get. And that's a consistent team that just knows how to win, even during adversity, with them losing out the guys that they lost. And I feel like that Kyle Shanahan, he's just a veteran coach that just knows how to get his team ready to play.
Yeah. These Panthers, they've been a thorn in my side. Like, it's just like we pick them to win, they lose. We pick them to lose, they win. But they are going up against Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall's back. I don't think Bryce Young has the caliber kind of quarterback to beat the 49ers. And they're playing at Levi Stadium. They have to come all the way out here to the West Coast from over there in North Carolina. So I'm going to say that this traveling team is going to get the L. So I'm picking the 49ers over the Panthers this week. It's kind of like, you look at the teams and the 49ers are the better team. And people are starting to get healthy and come back and all that stuff. I'm glad to see Ricky Pearsall's finally, getting healthy and coming back. Brock Purdy finally decided to play because he saw Joe Burrow, that Joe Burrow was coming back sooner than what everybody thought. So Brock Purdy was like, oh shit, let me get back in there, because he had pretty much the same, well, not the same grade, but the same injury to his foot.
Yeah, for real. So, not the same grade. So it didn't. The timetable was, but same type. Yeah, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying there too. Yeah, man. The 49ers, they could be getting right at the hot time to be able to help get their name back up into the conversation. I think I just see a wild card team with this group. I don't see them winning the division and trying to steal the thunder from what you saw from the Rams or even the Seahawks. So when it all boils well, at the end, it's going to come down to Seattle and LA. I think the 49ers are one of those comfortable wild card teams that you might be able to pick in the sneaky upset win, because they'll probably be like maybe the 5 seed or the 6 seed. The roster is just so deep when it comes to the NFC playoffs picture. And the 49ers can be one of those teams that can go on the road and pull off an upset win against somebody like the Green Bay Packers if they ended up winning the division. Or if it's Detroit that ends up as division winners. I could see the 49ers going on the road and pulling off an upset victory in the playoff wildcard round and stuff. So good team, good stuff. And we're getting closer, man, to the end of the regular season, and we're going to have to kind of bubble up this playoff picture here soon, because that is going to come to this factor into our decision of why you would swing more of a certain team, even if they don't have the certain matchup favorings. But it could swing the direction of why you want to pick a certain team. It always kind of happened a little bit for me. For me, I picked the Bucks in the upset victory over the Saints. I'm sorry, not Saints. Upset against the Rams.
Yeah.
I think that they need it more than the Rams right now to be able to stay afloat in the NFC South. I'm sure nobody expected the Panthers to just, pop their head out and be like, hey, we're here. Like, nobody expected that. Usually it's been the Bucks division for the last 3 or 4 years. Even when Tom Brady was still there, it's been theirs even since then too. But I think that they see a challenger that's creeping up, and they got to figure out how to stay ahead, and that's the factoring of a decision right there. So could I look foolish? Sure, but I'm willing to go out on a limb with that one.
Well, hey, we had another great show. Justin, you have any final thoughts or any plans this weekend at all? What do you have to say?
Yeah, you know what? Probably the next time you hear from us, Thanksgiving have already come and gone. We might do a preview show on our Run Through the Jungle before the game even kicks off. But if we don't get a chance to just connect even then at that point in time, because Black Friday, it's going to be tough to do a pick'em game.
Oh,
we'll figure that out because we got the Black Friday slate of games too. We'll figure it out. But if not, we don't get a chance to touch base. We hope you guys have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. Say prayers for the families around all the country, around the world, and just be thankful for what you have, because it's so easy to get lost in the sauce about what you don't have, but just be thankful for what you do have. Here in Cincinnati, we're not feeling all too high right now about the Cincinnati Bengals because of the record and with the situation and adversity that we had to have to deal with as fans. But you know what? At least we're watching football and we have Cincinnati Bengals football, and I'm in the city directly, so I get to be able to catch them in the games in the stadium where other cities are not privileged for that. They have to travel outwards for stuff like that. Somebody can be in Casper, Wyoming, and they don't have an opportunity to go down to watch an NFL team unless they go far out of their city limits. So with me, I'm very thankful that at the very least that we can do that. And at some point, we do expect Joe Burrow to come back and play. And that will be a fun sight to see, just to be able to see him trot out on the field. It might be this week. We don't know. But those are my final thoughts. It's been a fantastic show, and we keeping the race going. It's going to be a fun race to the end.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Hope you guys will have a safe Thanksgiving holiday. Make sure that you're not deep frying turkeys inside the house or the garage. Do that shit outside, away from your house. Be safe about it. Don't drink and drive. Tip your waitresses. Hooday, and thank you guys for coming. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Check us out, hopefully, on your podcast platforms. Depends if it gets uploaded or not by Brandon. Who knows? But anyways, take care. Thank you for watching. Happy Friday. Hooday.